I've got an action-packed 2 hours ahead. So there's no sitting back and dozing after lunch. There'll be lots of activities to do, and I'm sure you'll get a lot out of the day. So my name's Bridgetty Egan. For those of you that I haven't met, I'm Managing Director of the Oakridge Centre, and I'm joined by my colleagues today. I've introduced some of them to you, but also facilitators on our Stride programme. We've got Judith Fraser. Give us a wave, Jude. And for a lot of you know, Claire Marie Borgiano. Give us a wave, Claire Marie. So,
hi, everyone. Hi.
Great to see you. So just a little sort of update on what we're doing at Oakridge. You'll notice there's some events coming up. This is one of them. We're doing a book launch in, I can't remember the date, but Penny, have you got the date handy? And this is
25th of March it is.
25th of March. So this is the book called Reshaping HR. So it'll be a fascinating discussion, I think. What does HR look like in the future? So if you haven't booked on that, please do. It's a free event. We've got one of our think tanks coming up. We've been running think tanks around talent for, oh gosh, I think we're into our 14th year now. And the lovely Nicola Ryan's going to come and do a session for us. And it's hot off the press because there was a fantastic feature in people management, I think, somebody shared with me. So congratulations and well done, Nicola.
Thank you.
To hearing all about the amazing work that you've done at Rowlands and the huge contribution your way of working has had on the organisation. So have I missed anybody that I should have said hello to and haven't yet, or introduced you to? I think probably we've got it all covered. So I wanted to start with a poem, and just for us to set the scene, and following on from last year when the lovely Kate did a poem, I thought rather than end with a poem, we'll start with one. And it's called The Invitation, and it's by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. And it goes something like this. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you've touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, or to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusations of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your own life form in its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you'll stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you've studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in those empty moments. So an invitation to you all. I think that sets the scene beautifully for what we're going to be talking about today, and being brave and standing in the centre of that fire. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome our guest speakers today. We're going to hear from three wonderful women. They're going to be sharing their stories and examples of work that has been undertaken, and a story of a wonderful frontline nurse that's been doing some work. She came on our Stride program and she's going to share her experiences. So yeah, some powerful stuff. So let me introduce Claire, Claire Huson. She's going to be talking about the topic, breaking through a protective bubble and refusing to be held back by the past. I was so touched by Claire's story when I met her, and just the courage and tenacity and the will to do great work. Claire has a 20-year career in pharmaceuticals, started as a scientist, and then you are going to be talking about how that career progression has been for you and sharing your experiences. So hello, Claire. Warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Bridget.
Delighted to introduce you. So what brought you here today, apart from me saying, hey, can you come and talk at this event?
Bit of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Joking. I think the best place for me to start, really, for me, is to give a bit of background as to my medical dramas, for want of a better phrase, because it has shaped me massively into who I am today and my perceptions and my outlook on work and social interactions, really. So 5.5-ish years ago, which those of you that know me, it's been 5.5 years, can you believe that? I got diagnosed with bone cancer fairly out of the blue. I had a running injury that just wouldn't go away, just a niggle in my leg that just wouldn't go away. Was a bit of background. So can I ask if everybody goes on mute?
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Microphones on.
I hate hearing myself, that was all. So just a running injury, wouldn't go away. Finally convinced my doctor to sort of send me for an MRI, fully expecting don't be a drama queen, Claire. Everybody gets running injuries. Get over yourself. So having the shock news of there's a tumour. And my initial consultant had the lovely words of, and there's nothing I can do for you. What he actually meant was there was nothing he could do. He was going to refer me to a brilliant team. And I got referred to, I don't know if anybody that knows, that there's a fantastic orthopaedic hospital just on the outskirts of Oswestry. If I could write a TripAdvisor review for a hospital, it would get 5 out of 5 stars, that they're amazing and envelope you with this warmth and care that, oh, it's just amazing. It's just exactly what you need in those circumstances. I won't bore you with the detail. It turned out it was a malignant tumour, and I ended up initially having the bottom half of my thigh bone removed and the top part of my shin bone. Luckily, that particular type of bone cancer is resistant to radiotherapy and chemotherapy, so I just needed surgery. It was major surgery, so I had to learn to walk, I had to learn to stand, get out of bed, all of those good things. But great physio, great sort of, I'm not being beaten by this kind of mentality. I started to get better. Very quickly, though, it became clear that the operation hadn't gone as well as it should have done. So I ended up having to have the operation repeated and a lot more of my thigh bone being removed. So all of that recovery I had to repeat. And in all, it meant that in an 18-month period, I actually only worked 6 months. So I was off 6, in for 6, and then off again for 6 months. and it made the whole readjustment back to work difficult. Yeah, it was hard. Anybody that's had any amount of time off work will know that it's scary going back. What's changed? Do I fit in? Do I even have a place here anymore? All of that mentality. And I've got to admit, I work for a fantastic company that supported me massively through all of that. And I'm not just saying that because I know there's several people from work on the call. I genuinely mean that. And I got through that. And then in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that floored me. I'm not one for showing much emotion. I'm happy and go lucky, but it's very rare that I will show tears at work. And I think that was the first time in over 20 years I've cried at work. Just the enormity of it. Why me? Essentially. I was caught massively early, so really lucky in that respect. I just had surgery and radiotherapy. So from a time off from work point of view, I didn't need that much for that. I had 2 weeks off the surgery, and I actually worked through my radiotherapy as well. But what it meant for me was it changed me, changed my mental outlook on things. And I wanted to move past it, you know. I had to have surgery again last year for future maintenance, as it were. And I'm not actually a sick person, believe it or not, despite what I've just said. I don't have days off sick, I don't have colds, I don't get flu, I just don't have days off. It's just when I do have days off, I do it in style. You know, I have chunks, and that then makes it harder to come back. And obviously it was getting to the point of I had to have a 2-week holiday, and people would be worried, oh my God, you're off for 2 weeks, is everything okay? And I was just on holiday, you know, I was just off, you know, jetting around everywhere. And what I found from the goodness of people's hearts was this protective bubble put around me, and it was lovely, and it was absolutely what I needed when I very first came back. You know, this support network and coziness and love and support. But when I was through it, when I was ready to get back into the nitty-gritty, ready to start pulling my hair out with work of the stress and the frustration and all of the good stuff that goes into what makes a job enjoyable, there was this protective bubble around me, and this, oh, is it going to be too much? Are you up to this? Thank you, but yes, I am. I will flag if I'm not. And it started to get repetitive almost, that I'm an adult, despite my mum still calling me her baby, because, you know, I'm a youngest. Thanks, Mum. I am an adult, and if I say I'm okay and I can do stuff, believe me, you know, I know my own limitations. I know I'm not going to be running the London Marathon anytime soon. Why would I want to, even if I could? But in work, I sit at a desk, you know, I don't need legs. So I'm good, and I can cope, and I will flag. And I think for me, it's acknowledging that positive intent. All of the love and support is coming from a very loving and supportive place, and I am so thankful for that. And the transitions back into work, like I said, would have been awful without it, but I'm ready now to move on, essentially. I've rambled, Bridget.
You didn't. That was just, you know, it was just extraordinary just to sit and listen to you. And I know that we've sort of prepared a whole host of questions, and but I just just to tell your story, it's a powerful one. So have you got a bionic leg now? Is that the
I'm metal from so flesh wise, I'm still flesh, but I'm metal from the sort of the top third of my shin up to my hip.
Wow.
So I'm great fun at airports. You don't want to be stuck in the queue behind me, because It's just, come and frisk me.
Oh, Claire, so given the topic is choose to challenge, when you think back, all the experiences that you've had and maybe the assumptions people are making and good intent, have you got an example of when you've had to challenge, make that conscious choice to challenge?
There's not one instance, Bridget, that sort of springs to mind of a particular conversation, and it was only really sort of coming. So I was off sick for the start of lockdown, so I came back to work just as everybody went home, and started to work from home, and it was only little bits of conversations, little snippets, a conversation with person X and a conversation with Joe Blogs and things like that. It was accumulation really that started me thinking. One particular conversation, and this is going back to my school days. I can remember them. They were a long time ago, but I can remember that far back. And it's something that I didn't challenge, and that the fact that the conversation stayed with me all these years later, I won't put a number on the years, it's something I still kick myself about, and it's something I learn, and it's something I like to share because it shows the power of words. And I think the story is I went to a school's career advisor, one of those helping to choose A-levels, what you're going to do after school. And I'd seen on TV really fascinating documentary about scuba diving and marine biologists, that very glamorous. They've got these big bubble helmets on and talking about, and it was amazing. I knew from the start I wanted to be a biologist, but I didn't know what avenue to go down. And this glamorous TV show comes on, and that's what I want to do. So of course I go into my school careers advisor and I want to be a marine biologist. You're too thick to do that, Claire. And it was, in fairness, she was right. But as an impressionable 16-year-old, I didn't want to be told I was too thick to do something. And burst into tears. I made the comment I don't cry at work. I obviously cried at school. And it just stuck with me. I didn't say anything. I burst into tears and fled, and I never saw her again. I never went back. And she was right. Once I'd calmed down and actually thought and looked at the grades I needed and all of that, and actually properly look and see what a marine biologist does. Apologies if there's any on the call. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. But I don't think anybody should be telling anybody else that they can't do something. By all means, be constructive. By all means, set realistic expectations. It would have been so much more powerful of, that's a great ambition, Claire. What's your backup plan? Or something like that. So it's something I always have at the back of my mind when I'm talking to people, or as a line manager trying to develop my team, of being constructive rather than you're too thick.
It's awful, isn't it? And I think we are, we've got all our insecurities, and we're teenage girls and, sort of growing up, and to have somebody in a sort of authoritative, respected role. And the fact that even now still talking about it just shows the impact. And you're right about the power of words. And, how could they possibly be in a career advice role when they are not holding people up? If only you could go back to her now and go, yeah.
Absolutely.
We've got a question coming in from Jill, Claire, and Jill's asking that you've mentioned your work a lot in your story. Is it something that's really important to you?
It is. I get a lot of my self-worth from being good at my job. I like, and I think it's human trait, I like to feel needed. And I think I am really good at my job. work colleagues, please don't take this opportunity to disagree. It's just something I get a lot of my self-worth from. You know, I've been to university a couple of times and I've got lots of experience, and it's, yeah, like I say, it's something I really enjoy as well. You know, I'm one of those really odd people that love going to work. Not every day, but you know, 95% of the time I enjoy what I do, and I know I'm in a very lucky position that I do enjoy my job, and I've always had quite a clear thought, even at school, that I wanted to do biology of some sort, and it changed over the years, but to be working in something that I knew from a very early stage that I wanted to be doing is it's a nice security blanket. I enjoy it.
Yeah. And there's a lovely comment here from Diane Murray. Teachers then had a lot to answer for. How dare she kill your dreams? She should have encouraged you by saying what qualifications were needed and looking at something else in that area. Absolutely. Claire, so that kind of leads on to a question around what advice would you give people on here today about how to choose to challenge? What would you say would be helpful, some practical advice?
I think just speaking up, knowing that the vast majority of people don't set out every day to be hurtful or to be ignorant or to be obnoxious. You know, presume positive intent. I know that's harder said than done, but having that open mindset of most people aren't deliberately or certainly consciously being a challenge in whatever way that is. And I think for me, knowing that they're not deliberately being that way, I'm trying to use my language very carefully, not be too colourful, but no, they're not deliberately set out to be that way. It does make it easier to challenge, you know, that, you know, oh, when you said that, it actually made me feel like this, or those words that you use, perhaps, you know, next time, and, you know, having that constructive feedback. And I think for me, when somebody's called me out on it, I tell people that, you know, oh, such and such has just called me out on X. I had no idea I was doing that. Who else does that, you know? And I think by talking about it, by making it socially acceptable to challenge and to show that you've accepted a challenge when it's happened to you, and you know, you've brushed it off and it's not a big deal, it's a learning experience, I think it drives that culture then for it to be normal. You know, we've all got unconscious biases, and until somebody points it out, we're never going to learn and we're never going to sort of move forward. So I think just making it an acceptable discussion point makes it easier.
And I think one of the things that really resonated with me, Claire, that you said on the Stride workshop was, because we've had to go online, it feels much more inclusive, because we're not making any judgments about your disability or, you know, the fact that you haven't got a leg that works very well. It's just you. And I think that was something that really resonated too, because we do, you know, we make those judgments and we make assumptions, and you know, having the courage to call that out, I think is incredible, and call it out when you see other people doing it as well. So, you know, so we're doing a lot of work around being active bystanders. So when you see, you know, inappropriate behaviour or people doing things inappropriately, that you have the confidence and the skill to call it out, because it is about the language that you use, and it is about the tone of voice, and it is about your body language. So, you know, getting better skilled at that can have a significant impact on individuals and organisations. So are there any questions for Claire from the floor? We can open this up if you'd like to raise a question and or a comment. We've got a couple of minutes before we go into one of our first breakout rooms, when you'll have an opportunity to talk to each other and network with one another. So
we have had another question in the chat, Bridget, if you want me to read that one out.
Thank you.
It's from Sarah Pownell. Unless Sarah wants to ask now, I'm happy to read it though.
Okay.
It says, thank you for sharing. I found it very moving for many reasons. I think it's important to share and encourage. I find that people often tiptoe and start any request at work with, sorry to ask, even though the request is just a normal task within my job role. How did you manage to help people see you again rather than the illness?
Wow, question.
Brilliant question.
I think for me it was having meetings with people, you know, from a I'm back, you know, by all means, you know, get me involved in things. I can start to pick up these activities again. And it was just being visible. And yes, that's hard at the moment when we're all not at work or, you know, trying to do things through Teams. But it was making a nuisance of myself a little bit. I'm a massive introvert. Which is why I've probably gone bright red and blushing through all of this. But just putting myself back out there and getting myself back on people's radar of, you know, I'm here, don't forget. And yeah, I won't be asking if I wasn't capable or I didn't have the bandwidth for it. So for me, it was just putting myself back out there a little bit and just having one-to-one conversations with people. You know, I'd see somebody was online, so I'd ping them a Teams chat or give them a call just to say, hi, you know, how are you? What have I missed? And making that personal connection. I actually quite like people for an introvert. I like having that chit chat. I like building those links with people so that it makes life and work enjoyable. So again, putting that me back into the business sort of thing, that's the personal connections really helped.
Yeah, and having that visibility is so important, because being visible contributes to career success. There's some brilliant research that was done and it was published in a book by, I can't remember the author's name, but it's Harvey Coleman, The Organizational Game Revealed. And he said that career success is 10% performance, 30% image, and 60% visibility. Now, so 90% is all around perception. And I think that's kind of interesting when we think about career development. And I think my take from that, performance is a prerequisite anyway. You've got to be good at your job, but you've got to show up and you've got to be visible and you've got to contribute, and that's what gets you somewhere. So for you to come back, I think, Claire, from being off with illness and those significant periods of time, to reconnect in and reestablish a network and become visible and, you know, challenge some of those assumptions people have around you being vulnerable or, you know, or sickly. I think it takes a lot of courage, and well done for that. So thank you very much. I'm going to pause it there because I think we're going to go into a little bit of a breakout room so that we can have a chat about Claire's session and just share our reflections, examples when you've chosen to challenge. What does that felt like? And just have a great conversation with each other.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
fabulous. I love that. I love that enthusiasm. We need more of that. I can see Helen Hughes there. Hello, Helen. I've not seen you for a while. Great to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, no, it's a real pleasure. It's been a real pleasure. So we're going to have a quick break, aren't we, Nat? So refresh your coffee, grab a cup of tea. We said 5 minutes. Is that enough time to go to the toilet, make a cup of tea?
Well, it was a really quick reshuffle break for anyone who needed it after the breakout rooms. If you don't need it, then, you know, we'll stay. I thought we might do some very brief reflections, Bridget, on what maybe people spoke about in the breakout rooms, and then we'll get started with the next session, and then we'll be on time as well.
Brilliant. Well, any comments or reflections from the last session?
I've just sent mine. Fantastic. I met two wonderful ladies. And I hope,
Alexis, thank
I can link in with them again. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other reflections from your session?
It's Wendy here. So I was lucky to be in a session with Claire and Debbie. And I think what we talked about was what could the business have done differently or better, maybe. So one of the things we explored was about whether we treated Claire as Claire or whether we treated her as an employee, because there is a difference, and it's really about understanding the individual's needs. And I get that we have to have a framework and we have to offer the same to everybody, but you really need to listen to what the individual is talking about. So we talked about that, and then we also talked about actually a lot can be going on when people are ill at the beginning, and it's a bit like bereavement and the funeral and all the rest of it. It's the after bit where people maybe, and I think we use the word slump, go into a slump where some days you might have a bad day, and do we do enough to support people at those times? It doesn't mean, to use Claire's words, that you've slipped back again, but actually we need to be better prepared to support employees and for them to raise it with us if they're not also having a good day. So that was our feedback.
That's brilliant. That's really helpful. It's being person-centered, isn't it? Being, and really engaging with the person at that much deeper level. Claire, do you want to reflect on that, what Wendy was saying from your experience? Any comment from you?
I agree. I haven't got a bad word to say about how I was treated when I came back. But it's a process, and it's, and it's just trying to find the human behind the employee sort of thing. And I think for me, it was more the struggle once I was back, and I was back full time and back to normal. Sometimes the enormity of what I'd gone through would hit me, because I am 99% of the time this bright, cheerful, happy-go-lucky person, but I'm not immune to feeling to being overwhelmed by stuff. And I sometimes didn't feel like I could just say, I'm having a bad day, because I'd made such a thing about, I'm okay, involve me in things, I'm good. I almost didn't want to admit that I wasn't good 100% of the time, because I didn't want to undo the work I'd done. So I think having that, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Having those opportunities to talk about that.
Yeah, really powerful. One more comment, and then we'll move on to listen to the gorgeous Steph Bryant, who's going to talk about some of the extraordinary work that's going on at the Christie that I didn't know was happening, and I'm sure you'll find it very informative. Any more comments? Anybody want to say anything?
I would, if that's okay.
Thank you. Yes, please, Simone.
We had a very, very powerful room, as one of our four is actually going through something very, very serious at the moment, and is unsure about what's going to be happening next. That kind of thing. And then other members in the group were able to share their experience about how sometimes a traumatic life event can give you a good time. It's never a good time, but a time to reassess your career and reassess your decisions. It was a really powerful, exceptionally powerful breakout. And I'd like to thank the ladies that I was in the room with. And all power to you, ladies. Let's keep going. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Simone. So it gives me great pleasure to segue into talking to Steph Bryant, who is a corporate fundraiser at the Christie, and she's got a brilliant presentation to share with us. We're going to be doing an auction later on one of our a place on our Stride programme, which is our female leadership development programme that has had exceptionally great feedback, and people have had a wonderful experience over the time. I think, Deborah, we're on to our 22nd cohort now. So, yeah, is there anything you want to say about the Stride programme? I know we'll hear a little bit more about it, but anything you want to say?
Basically, we've obviously adapted it to be delivered virtually now. So everybody who comes on the programme, we've split it into 6 half-day workshops rather than full days. On the feedback, and it starts in June. Quite a few ladies who are on the call here will have been on the programme, and if you want to share anything in the chat about your experiences of it or how you found it, please do. But yeah, so it's a 6-month female leadership development programme, and it contains workshops, webinars, one-to-one coaching, emotional intelligence assessments, all sorts of things, and then you become part of the Stride alumni. So you once you're with us, you never really leave us, and you get to meet some of the wonderful women who've been on the programme who are on this call and part of the wider Stride community. So if anybody wants any further information, please just let me know. Either drop me a line in the chat or drop me an email. Very happy to share with you some more details about it.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you, Deborah. Thanks. So, Steph, over to you. You know, it's not easy being out there corporate fundraising, but when you look and listen to the stories, wow, that's incredible. And Steph, I've got a question for you. What's attracted you to the world of corporate fundraising, and particularly the Christie? What was it that attracted you to that?
Sorry, my Zoom just crashed then for a second, thinking, what was the question? Sorry, Bridget.
It was just what attracted you to the Christie and corporate fundraising?
Yeah, so I think I feel really proud working for the Christie, kind of an organisation that has such a high reputation in the world of cancer care. So that kind of really appealed to me, and the fact that they're constantly striving to stay at the top of their game in research, and there's so many projects going on in like all the different areas of cancer of care treatment and like the research side, and so there's lots to talk about, and I think personally as well, so last year in the first wave of the pandemic, myself and a lot of the charity team were redeployed for like temporarily to kind of help in the clinical side at the hospital, and we did a patient screening service with our colleagues in hospital, and it really kind of helped me understand how important these services are to patients, especially during the pandemic, and it made me realise how far people travel to our services as well. And it really kind of helped me understand how much people depend on the Christie, and what the things that the charity fundraisers for.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Steph. We're going into another breakout room now. If you've got any burning questions, let's hold them. We'll come back, and you know, if there's any questions that you want for Steph, but let's go and do a little bit of networking and reflecting on Steph's session, and perhaps what you learned. Did you know this is what was happening at the Christie, and just get to know each other. So Natalie, over to you.
Yeah, I'll open the rooms now for about 10 minutes.
Oh.
Hello, we're all coming back.
Yeah, we've got about 10 seconds and then everyone should be back with us. Still got a few rooms chatting.
After waiting for everyone to come back, any questions for Steph at all about her wonderful work that they're doing at Christie's? Any questions? I can not see any hands go up yet.
I've got a question, Bridget.
Thank you, Jo. Brilliant.
I'm just remembering that an awful day when I drove past the Christie and saw the damage caused by the fire on the top floor. and just wondering if it's fully recovered from that awful period. I think we were all really shocked to see that.
Yeah, so that was in 2017 now that fire happened. That was on it's called our Patterson building, and that was our cancer research kind of hub in hospital. So we are actually working in partnership with Cancer Research UK and the University of Manchester, and we're kind of rebuilding that centre now, but not to replace the Patterson. We're not building the same building in it, so it's going to be a really state-of-the-art cancer research facility, and it will be amazing to have our researchers back on site, because like I say, when the fire happened, we had to displace kind of 300 of our researchers to Osley Park, and which it works so much better when we can all collaborate on site, and like they're close to the clinical side, and our patients kind of can benefit from the research findings faster. So that is a project that we're fundraising for now, to kind of rebuild that. And if you drive past now, you'll see it being built. Very exciting.
That's great news. Love to hear it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jo. Any more reflections or questions? I'm just looking across the group. If not, we are going to now hear and listen to the wonderful Sarah Marie Black. Sarah Marie, your name is hyphened. Do we call you Sarah Marie or do we call you Sarah? I'm not sure, and I hope I've been calling you Sarah Marie.
I think only if I'm in trouble, Bridget, with my parents, do I get the hyphen Marie.
Okay. So I won't do that until I won't call you that anymore unless you are in trouble. So
hopefully not today then.
No, definitely not today. Definitely not today. I am so thrilled that Sarah could come and talk to us today. She's a project manager of integrated community teams with the Bridgewater Community Health Foundation Trust. And I love the little strapline that you've got. Be the reason someone gets better care today. Wow, be the reason that someone gets better care today. Sarah's also got a Queen's Nurse Award, and this is for someone who's committed to high standards of practice and patient-centred care. And what I've got to know of Sarah over the last couple of months, you can feel that care. It's just so warm and friendly and open and caring. And I think if I was a patient on the receiving end of that, it would be a really, helpful experience. So the title is given to individual nurses who've demonstrated a high level of commitment to patient care and nursing practice. And as you can see, Sarah's in a uniform. That's because we loved it on the sessions. Were you going to be in uniform or were you going to be in casual? Because you've been very much at the front line, haven't you, Sarah?
Yeah, very much redeployed since March, so nearly a year now, Bridget, that I've been redeployed into the hospital.
Wow.
So my uniform was either on or hanging behind in the spare room waiting to dry to put on in the afternoon.
I loved it, absolutely loved it. And thank you for the incredible work that you and all your colleagues and teams have been doing. I know you've been working so very, very hard. And it's just a delight that you're taking time out today to come and talk to us. And I know you've got a little presentation that you wish to share and say a few words. So the floor is yours, Sarah.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank you everyone for inviting me today. So as Bridget has very kindly introduced myself, I'm Sarah Black. So I am a project manager for the development of the integrated teams working in Warrington. But just to take a minute as well today to say Happy International Women's Day to everybody. So I'm going to share my short story around my redeployment and my role, but also the impact that the Stride course has had on myself. Are you okay just to keep moving on, Natalie, as I talk? Or please, thank you. So as Bridget said, I have been redeployed into the hospital since March last year. And my commitment really, as shown by being awarded the Queen's Nurse title this year, is around supporting people to live as well and independently at home. My passion throughout qualifying in 2001 is always been around community nursing, linking in with community services to support people at home. So moving on to how the Stride course started. So last year at International Women's Day, I was very privileged to be invited by one of my colleagues, Carol, to attend the International Women's Day in Manchester, the celebration. And thankfully and very luckily, I won a place on the Stride course. Thankfully, it was pre-pandemic, because I think if Natalie and Bridget can remember, I think I hugged everybody in the room when I won the prize. So I think I would have struggled virtually to show my appreciation as I did on the day. I was very lucky during the celebration as well to get the opportunity to speak to a number of people who I've had the opportunity to link back into today, Carol and I, that we met last year. To realise some of the positive impact that the course would not only allow myself, but it also had on other people that had attended the course. Unfortunately, due to COVID, the course was actually delayed, and I was redeployed to the hospital only a matter of weeks. I think none of us knew on that celebration of International Women's Day last year what the next few weeks would bring. During my redeployment, I actually received a number of calls, and thank you, Natalie, for persevering. As you can imagine, I was working long days and I didn't get back, so I do apologise for that at the time, but eventually managed to speak to Oakridge. And although I was very hesitant at the time, I really did not know the impact that undertaking the Stride course at that time could have been any better a time than what it could have been. So some of my key takeaways from the course was, one of the elements of the course is around the self-education, so self-reflection. One of the initial opportunities allowed me to look at some of my pre-assessment, and I came out as having high levels of social responsibility. For people that know me and people that have got to know me on the course, that's no surprise there really. From that initial assessment, I set out course goals, obviously working with the director that I work with, but around building my own confidence. And throughout the course, that was a recurring theme around imposter syndrome that I began to develop as part of this Stride course. Although initially I was very hesitant about the course being virtual, I do think those concerns were also raised as part of those initial sessions, first of all, and it created the space to really develop with like-minded people on the course. I also received full support and flexibility from the people that I was lucky enough to network with, but also the course facilitators as well, when my priorities sometimes have been redeployed into the acute setting, unfortunately overtook the priority of attending the course. The course allowed me to focus not only professionally, but also on becoming more resilient personally as well, which everyone on the course can probably understand. There's no more of a pertinent time now. And it was also pivotal in me understanding what was important to me, what had become my values over the time, and also to look at how that resilience and motivation can be used in a positive light in my new redeployed post. So moving on, applying some of my learning from the course allowed me to recognise those true values, but how that I could use those values that previously had been challenged around you can't be kind, you can't be caring as a female leader within healthcare, you're not aggressive, you're not assertive enough, Sarah, but around how I could link those into real strengths, especially during the time of the pandemic. The group also, I think, very cleverly was chosen around our shared values as well, and how they really uplifted that positivity and energy. I'm a little bit different from Claire, that I can probably say over the last year in work, I've probably nearly cried every day, to be fair. But it gave that safe environment for us all to become very positive, understand each other's challenges, because we all had those challenges at the time. The Stride course for me has been a real turning point, and I think there's a couple of quotes on the last slide that are also shared by my director that I work with, a colleague, and there's also some sharing on social media as well that I'm sure can be circulated around that, how it's had that real impact in how I have developed over the period of time. I think looking back, one of my reservations on the first call was very much that imposter syndrome, very much I shouldn't be here. My mantra now, thank you to Stride, is why shouldn't I be here? Why should we wait? Why should we not apply for that promotion and support each other to apply for promotion, but also look at different career pathways as well? I think one of the things in summary that I learned was around why would I hold myself back when we can turn those negatives very much into positives, and change is empowering. I'd just like to say as well, finally, thank you so much to everyone from Oakridge, but also thank you to Carol as well from Warrington Together. I don't know people that have been in the breakout room, but Carol's retiring this week, but she's been very inspirational over the last 2.5 years. So thank you.
I can vouch for Carol being truly inspirational. She's been marvellous, and we wish you all the best with your retirement. You're far too young lady to be going off and retiring.
Well, I'm retiring from this career in the NHS, but hopefully to find new challenges elsewhere.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we'll be catching up with you to hear what your news is. So thank you very much, Sarah, for coming and just sharing your reflections, because we wanted to do that because we're moving into an important part of our fundraising activity today. We're going to auction off a place on Stride and raise funds for the brilliant work that Steph and her team are doing, and see if we can really bump up that £1,000. We saw fundraising. We've got a wellbeing event this weekend where we shall do some fundraising again, and I know a number of you have privately messaged me to say that you'd like to provide some funds, so now contact Natalie and we'll get the Just Giving page over to you today. But you can hear Stride, such an important programme, can make such a difference. So we want to auction off a place to somebody that would like to join the next cohort or the one after that. We've got a number of dates, and we can certainly set something up for you. So I'm going to hand over to our resident auctioneer, Simone Robinson, who's incredibly successful at raising funds. She managed at Christmas to sell to auction off a Sainsbury's Christmas jumper that was £18 for near enough £90. So let's hope we can get lots and lots of fundraising today. And and thank you, Sarah. So you've got an insight to the programme. Let's go over to you.
Marvellous. Thank you very much indeed, Bridget. Thank you very much, Sarah. That was brilliant. Absolutely set the stage so perfectly. And Steph, and obviously Claire today. That's wonderful. And I've got to give a big shout out to Alexis's pussycat. I don't know if you can all see him, her. I can't remember. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Stole the show. Stole the show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be auctioning off a place for a Stride to be on the Stride programme. This is worth over £2,000. £50, okay? So if you have to get permission from your employer, if you would like to go on it and you have to go back and ask them for permission, fear not, because they will be so delighted that you've managed to get yourself, you've shown the initiative and you put your hand up. So who's going to start me off with £50? I'd like £50, please, for a course, a 6-month course is going to be worth £2,000. In addition, we're going to be helping the Christie Centre, as well as everything that Steph told us about. They also provide a virtual information centre and a wig fitting service. Now, this has got to be essential for somebody that's going through this traumatic things that are going on. I haven't seen a £50 yet. Come on, ladies, in the chat, please. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I should have explained. I'm a bit rubbish at this. Can you please? Oh, we're starting with £100 from Ali. Thank you so much. Elizabeth, on the chat, that would be lovely. Thank you so much. Get that money rolling in. 200, Diane, you're an absolute star. Now, here's a lovely quote from somebody who's used the Art Centre at the Christie. Let's keep that money going, please. I don't want it to stop. Let it keep going. It says, when I am in the art room, I feel as far from my cancer as it's possible to feel. Oh my goodness, how powerful. Jane, 250, that is amazing. Thank you so, so much. And another one about the Art Centre. The doctors keep me alive, but the art room helps me live. Oh my goodness me, absolutely superb. Steph and her team doing amazing work there. So come on, we've got 250. Let's go a little bit higher. Who's going 300? Susie, you're an absolute star. Now that new centre in Macclesfield that Steph was talking about, we're with 400 with Diane. Thank you so much, Diane. That's brilliant. Now that new centre in Macclesfield is going to cost 23 million to build, and it's going to help far more people, but also reduce that time frame of travel. Sarah Hutton, 450. You are an absolute star. Whoop, whoop. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now, did you know? Go, Simone. You are fabulous. Oh, no, I'm not supposed to read that one. Thank you, Meg. But that's lovely. Okay, come on, Sarah. You're doing great. Let's say, who are the ladies who were bidding against Sarah? Diane. Come on, Diane and Susie and Jane. You started off. You can't lose this now. You've got to keep going. Okay, so as well as the Art Centre, 500 from Diane. Oh my goodness. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Right, keep it going, keep it going. Go on, ladies. As well as the Art Centre, we're also doing complementary therapies. Complementary therapies, how amazing. Not just for Willow the cat is fascinated. Oh, bless him. Oh, we love Willow. And the complementary therapies are not just for the patients, but also for their carers. Can you imagine how important that is? To be able to maybe have a gentle reflexology session together, or hypnotherapy or massage, just that dealing with the mental well-being as well as the physical. Okay, we're sitting on 500. No, we're not. We've got more than that, surely. No, we got, oh, okay, we're with 500 with Diane. Right. Did you hear what lovely Steph was talking about? Proton beams, ladies and gentlemen, proton beams. I think that we should be a stream of funding so we can have more proton beams. So a stream beams, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Got it? Are we going any further than 500? I think you're all going to get very annoyed with me any minute now. It's worth over £2,000. Don't forget that. Let's go. Oh, and I've got to put this one in. Do you remember Steph talked about flash? She talked about flash. She said the flash, and it's the only time that we're ever encouraged to kill anything. We want to kill tumours. Let's kill tumours with flash therapy. Let's be some flashy ladies and gents. And we're at 600. Lisa Harper, I love you. You're amazing. Okay, that is just in fact. Oh, and Sarah Marie. Look, Sarah's saying, not Sarah Marie, because you're not in trouble. Sarah's saying that highly recommended. The course changed her life. We're at £600. I think everyone's going to be a bit sick of me any minute now, so I'm going to draw it to a close. We're at 600. We've got to do that thing, that do thing. Oh no, it's 650 for Diane. Diane, would you like to come on? And Lisa, would you like to come on? Because it's between you ladies at the moment. So unmute yourselves. Let's meet Lisa and Diane and say thank you, because you're both up there. We're at 650 with Diane. Lisa, any chance? It's completely up to you. Any more? No?
Well,
okay.
I don't want to deny somebody. I've been using it. I'm putting my daughters through the Stride program. So if I don't want to take the opportunity from someone else. So 650
oh,
is a great
Lisa,
result.
well, I know that you supported us so beautifully at Christmas. So I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, a massive thank you to everybody who's bid. Thank you so much, and for letting me get all over excited and completely stupid as well, because I just love doing that. And Diane Murray, what a huge, massive achievement, and we are all in your debt. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. we'll be in touch to let you know how to get going with it. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Simone, for your energy and your fizz and getting us going. You definitely have a second career if ever you needed one, but you hope not. Hope you'll be here until you retire, in time. So thank you very much for all your contributions. That's a brilliant amount of money raised for Steph and her team, and we are going to do a quick networking session, but just a quick check-in. The session is into 3 breakout rooms. So Natalie's going to cover off inclusion. What does it make you feel included? I'm going to do choose to challenge. What future are we going to challenge in the workplace? What are we going to do? And Deborah's going to do bystander awareness. What are you taking away that will ensure you're an active bystander in future? So quick, what would we say? 5 minutes. Quick 5 minutes, Nat. Yes, because we want to finish on time, because we know you're busy people with places to go. So quick 5 minutes to check in and have a conversation around those topics. Oh, fantastic. Wow, what a couple of hours we've had. What great people we've met and talked to, heard some incredibly inspiring speakers. Again, I just want to say a big thank you to Claire, Steph and Sarah for their contributions. We all do that in their usual way. And thank you to all of you for showing up and being a part of today. It matters to us to get your support and to have you here with us. So in closing, Natalie is going to share a little link. We just want to capture some of what you're feeling now. It creates a word cloud, and then we'll share that after the event. And it just gives us an opportunity to check in to get a sense of what you're thinking, feeling, and taking away as a result of today's event.
So yeah, the link should be in the chat, or equally you can just grab your phone, go to menti.com and put that code in that's appeared up at the top.
Oh yeah, I didn't explain what we were doing there. So
that's okay, you can see them start coming through. So yeah, the link should take you directly to it. You can just pop 1, 2 or 3 words in about how you're feeling or what you're taking away. Or equally, yeah, we sometimes like to just grab our phones and do it on a different device and pop that code in. And as you can see, these lovely things then come through for us, and we can capture that and share as well afterwards.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Oakridge team. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to all of you. I've really loved today. I've loved seeing your faces looking back at me. I've been truly inspired and humbled to hear the remarkable stories of work that's going on that just is making a real difference. So thank you to you all. Keep safe. We'll soon be out of this. Coffee and lunch on me next time. And it'll be great to see you all. Thank you ever so much. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks again, Diane, for your generosity and everyone who got involved in the bidding.
Yeah,
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody, and thank you.
Bye, Alexis. Lovely to see you and your pussycat.
And yeah.
It's great to see those comments coming through. So,
yeah, brilliant.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Thank you for everybody's contributions.